Hi, I'm Tori, and I am a doctor of physical therapy who specializes in pelvic dysfunction, and I think that pelvic health and pelvic issues should both be more openly discussed and widely understood because everyone has a pelvis. So today we are going to discuss why some women and people with vaginas might pee when they orgasm, during vaginal penetration, or both. First of all, if you are not leaking urine during any other activities other than sexual ones, I highly encourage you to investigate that fluid to make sure that it is in fact urine. There is such a thing as female ejaculation as well as squirting, and I've run into women in the clinic who have mistaken those events as urinary leakage. If you want to learn more about female ejaculation and squirting, you can check out this video. If you know that you are truly leaking urine secondary to orgasm, vaginal penetration, or both, this may be due to pelvic floor dysfunction. Your pelvic floor acts as a sphincter around your urethra, and you want that sphincter to remain closed until it's time to urinate. Sometimes weakness in the pelvic floor translates to weakness in that urethral sphincter, and because the act of vaginally accepting an object or a penis requires pelvic floor relaxation, a weaker sphincter will sometimes open during vaginal penetration and let out some urine. An orgasm is the repetitive contraction of the pelvic floor followed by a big relax. Sometimes if someone's pelvic floor is weak, that big relax ends up relaxing that urethral sphincter, causing some leakage. Other times, if someone already has an overactive or sensitive bladder, because the pelvic floor and the bladder have an inverse reflexive relationship where during normal urination the bladder contracts to squeeze out urine and the pelvic floor relaxes to open that urethral sphincter, repetitive pelvic floor contractions followed by a big relax cause bladder spasms, which feel like urgency, and those spasms can result in leakage. The medical term for this is coital incontinence, and sometimes coital incontinence can be secondary to stress incontinence, leaking urine during physical activity like coughing, sneezing, laughing, etc. Urge incontinence, which is sometimes called overactive bladder, leaking secondary to a lot of urgency surrounding urination. Prolapse, where the bladder has lost some support within the pelvis, or a combination of the three. All of these can be improved and treated with the guidance of a pelvic physical therapist. And if you live in the United States, I have a directory for you in the description below to help you find a provider near you. You are not alone in your experience. You do not need to suffer in silence, and you are worthy and deserving of treatment if it's something that you want to pursue. And that is why you might pee when you orgasm, during vaginal penetration, or both. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to join me on the 10th and 20th of every month for future pelvic PSAs, with surprise PSAs on the 30th when I can make them, where I attempt to cover an interesting pelvic health or pelvic issue related topic in 5 minutes or less. See you next time.